Hey everyone, here's a video to help you with solving radical inequalities, or equations, sorry, not inequalities, that's next. Alright, so the steps to solving the equations. The first thing that you want to do is isolate the radical. If you don't know what the radical is, then it's the square root. Then the next thing you're going to do is square both sides. Step 3 is to simplify and solve, and then step 4 is to check your solution. You always want to go back and check your solution just to make sure it's true, because you could have extraneous solutions. Okay, so the first example that we're going to do is 2 square root of x plus 1 equals 1. Now, there's two ways to do this problem. Either you can divide by 2 first to fully isolate your radical, so then you'll have 1/2 equals the square root of x plus 1. That is completely okay. But I'm going to not do that first. So what I'm going to first do, because I don't want to deal with fractions, I'm going to go ahead and square both sides. When I do that, I have to make sure I square that 2. So 2 squared is 4. So 4 times x plus 1 is equal to 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and solve for x. So the first thing I can do is divide by 4. So I have x plus 1 is equal to 1/4. Now the last thing I need to do is subtract 1. And if you don't know, 1 is the same thing as saying 4 over 4. So I'm going to take 1/4 and subtract 4 over 4. So 1 minus 4 is 3. Or negative 3, sorry. So x is equal to negative 3 over 4. Alright, my last step is to plug it back in and check. So I'm going to do that in purple. If I plug it back in, I'm going to have 2 times the square root of negative 3 over 4 plus 1. And that's equal to negative 3 over 4 plus 1 is equal to 1/4. So 2 square root of 1/4. And the square root of 1/4 is 1, or 1/2. So I have 2 times 1/2. And then the 2's are going to cancel. So that's equal to 1. And our equation has to equal 1. So that works. So this is our correct answer. So x does equal negative 3/4. Okay, our next example. We have the square root of 4x plus 12 is equal to square root of 6x. Now this one's a little bit different. Looking at both of these, the radicals are both isolated by themselves on each side. So we can go ahead and skip the first step. So now what we're going to do is we're going to square both sides. When we do that, we get 4x plus 12 is equal to 6x. And now we're going to solve for x. So that means I want to put my x's on one side and my numbers on the other. So I'm going to subtract 4x from the left. So I get 12 is equal to 6x minus 4x is 2x. Then my last step is to divide. So I'm going to divide by 2. So 6 is equal to x. Okay, let's take that, plug it in, and double check. So we have the square root of 4 times 6 plus 12. 4 times 6 is 24. So we have 24 plus 12, which is equal to the square root of 36. Sorry, all my pen's bad. And the square root of 36 is equal to 6. Now let's check the other side. So square root of 6 times 6, square root of 36, which equals 6. So since they both equal 6, we're good. So x equals 6 is our answer. Okay, next one. We got the square root of 3x minus 11 equals x minus 3 quantity squared. Alright, this is where we're going to get into those extraneous solutions. So this is where it's extra important that we go back and double check our answers. Now looking at the radical, it is already isolated. So we can go ahead and square both sides. Oh, there's already parentheses, but I'm just going to double parenthesis my parenthesis. So I get 3x minus 11 is equal to, I got to do binomials squared. So this is my a minus b squared is equal to a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, so x times x is x squared. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Times 2 is negative 6x. Then negative 3 squared is 9, so plus 9. Okay, after I do that, I need to put everything onto one side. So I'm going to subtract 3x and I'm going to add 11. So when I get 0 is equal to x squared minus 9x plus 20. Alright, now is when you'll do your box method. But I'm not going to do the box method, I'm going to leave that to you. But when you do that, where you multiply a times c, which is 20, your factors 20, they'll add to negative 9, are negative 5 and negative 4. So 0 is equal to x minus 5 times x minus 4. Now you take each of these and set them equal to 0. So x minus 5 equals 0 and x minus 4 equals 0. So solving, that means x equals 5 and x equals 4. Now we need to double check for our extraneous solutions. So I'm going to plug each one in. So first one, x equals 5. I'm going to have the square root of 3 times 5 minus 11. So that is the square root of 15 minus 11, which is equal to the square root of 4, which is equal to 2. Now let's plug it onto the other side. 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. So both are equal, so 5 works. Now let's check x equals 4. I'll have the square root of 3 times 4 minus 11. So that's the square root of 12 minus 11, which is equal to the square root of 1, which is 1. Then I got to do the other side. So I have 4 minus 3 equals 1. Both are equal. Therefore, x equals 4 is an answer. So both of these are our answer. And for those of you that plugged one side into y1, the other side into y2, you also get the exact same answer. So this one does not have extraneous solutions. Alright, our last example. So we have the square root of x plus 18 equals x minus 2. So just like the last one, we can go ahead and square both sides. So you get x plus 18. Then use your binomial squared as we just did. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Times 2 is negative 4x. Then negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Now I'm going to put everything on both sides. So minus x minus 18. So I get 0 is equal to x squared minus 5x minus 14. Okay. Now is when you would use your box method. But I'm going to do a times c, so 1 times negative 14 is negative 14. And factors of negative 14, that's sum to a negative 5, and negative 7 and positive 2. So 0 equals x minus 7 times x plus 2. to 0. So x equals 7 and x equals -2. Now our last step is to go back and check. So the first one to check is x equals 7. So we have the square root of 7 plus 18. That's equal to the square root of 25, which equals 5. Then plug it on the other side, so 7 minus 5 is, or 7 minus 3. Hold on a second. Need to erase. Alright, so plugging into the other side, we have 7 minus 2, which is equal to 5. So we have 5 equals 5. Therefore, x equals 7 is an answer. Now let's plug in -2. So we have the square root of -2 plus 18. That is equal to the square root of 16, which equals 4. Now on the other side, we have -2 minus 2. That's equal to -4. -4 does not equal 4. So x equals -2 is not an answer. Therefore, our only answer is x equals 7, and x equals -2 is extraneous. Okay, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in class. Have a good night.